All right, we are going to get started with, as soon as I get my screen share up here. We are going to get started today with the facilitation of lesson 7, overcoming the terror barrier. And as we start to get into lesson 7, it's important that we all just recognize and understand where we are. I want everyone to take a moment to celebrate and to give yourselves a pat on the back because we are halfway through our program, right? So we're at lesson 7. And so that is always, 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 every accomplishment is to be celebrated. That is how we vibrationally tell the universe that we not only appreciate where we are, but that we're ready for more. And I want to welcome everyone back. I am your coach, your facilitator, Kimberly Nicole Evans. And just to make sure that we're all level set and on the same page, just want to kind of go into our agenda for lesson 7. Um, and lesson 7, of course, as I stated before, is the terror barrier. And really, how do we break through and overcome the terror barrier? We're going to review lesson 6 worksheets. We're going to watch the lesson 7 video. I'm going to cover some key points, worksheet introduction for lesson 7, and then we're going to wrap up. But before we get into uh, lesson 7, one of the things that I always, always do, as you have all participated in, is a visioning exercise. And it is critically important that with our visioning and with us completing these courses, that we hold steady and hold fast in our minds what it is or what are those things that we do want. And I want to just mention a quote by one of my mentors, Michael Bernard Beckwith. Within our core self is an indelible blueprint of unrivaled individuality, the singular being that each of us exists to express. In this three-dimensional movie called life, there are no stand-ins, body doubles, or understudies. No one can fill in for us by proxy. And one of the affirmations that I say over and over again, quoting Michael Bernard Beckwith, I'm available to more good than I have ever experienced, imagined, or realized before in my life. I am available to more good than I have ever experienced, imagined, or realized before in my life. So before we get started in today's lesson, I would like for us all to just close our eyes and remember why it is that you even started on this course. And going back to lesson 1, what is it that we really want? And to have a keen vision and focus. So close your eyes. And I want you to be in that place, in that moment, in that car, in that town, in that home, in that job, in that career, in that business, whatever it is that you want and that you've been holding on to that vision for yourself or your expansion, and to really take it in and live it and feel the heat, feel the leather in your car, feel the coldness of the marble on the floors or the countertops in your new home. Really take it in. Take in the smells with all of our senses. And with your mind's eye, live it. Be it, have it as one, have it as if it is already materialized and taken place. Just hold that in your mind. And as I count backwards from 5, we're going to slowly come out of this vision. I'm going to hold on to it a little longer. And we're going to live it. 5, we're in it. 4, it is for us. 3, 2, 1. And open your eyes. And I say to yourself in your mind or say to yourself out loud, I am available to more good than I've ever experienced, imagined, or realized before in my life. Before we get started, I want to also just have you focus in on this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I have lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you cannot do. I have lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Strength, courage, and confidence. You have it. You have it. Okay. Worksheet review for lesson 6. Environment is but our looking glass. Environment is but our looking glass. And our worksheet from lesson 6. Now, what insights did you gain about yourself as a result of the worksheets? What insights? We always are going to go within. Go within. This whole program is about what is within us. What is within us? Those things that we can control. Did you complete question 6, looking at another person for clues about what you want to integrate into your self-image? What did you come up with? What did you come up with? We cannot rise higher than what we see in ourselves or where we see ourselves. In order for us to become that person or become that individual living that life, enjoying those things, acquiring those things, having those things, being those things, loving in those things, feeling in those things that we envision in our mind, it is tied to our self-image of where we see ourselves and how we see ourselves. Did you complete the exercise, your life as a movie? Your life as a movie. You get to write, direct, edit, cut. You can go back. You can add in as much detail as you desire. It is your movie. Did you rewrite your script? What was fun about it? This is the amazing part about that self-accountability in our lives and accepting that we are the authors of our lives, is that you get to rewrite the script. You get to rewrite the script. It is not dictated to you. It is your script. You own it. You get to make yourself the star. You can be the antagonist. You can be whomever you want to be. It is your script. And why not make it the most marvelous, imaginative script that you have ever seen in any movie? Take your most favorite movie, whether it was a rom-com or a love story or a sci-fi movie, and go out there with your deepest imagination, because we know and have learned that our thoughts become things. So why not give yourself the absolute best and have the absolute best time and have the absolute best experience? It's your script. And what was fun about it? What was fun about it? Now, trampling the terror barrier. In this diagram, you see a lot happening, a lot taking place. And over in the far left corner, as you're looking at the screen, we see this stick person, and we've seen this person before in previous lessons. And we see bondage. And then we go from bondage to reason, and from reason to the terror barrier. And then we see our stick person breaking through this terror barrier over to freedom. So it looks great. It looks easy enough on paper or on the screen. So why is it so difficult for the majority of us to actually have a vision, a big vision, and then work our way all the way through to seeing it come to fruition? Why is it that there's only a small amount of our population that has the big visions and they get to live all the way through to seeing those visions come to fruition? They had a terror barrier as well. This is not something that is just only unique to you and I. But these individuals were able to break through their terror barriers, and there's a process for that. But in order for us to be able to break through, we have to understand what is happening. So over here in the far left, as we have these X-type ideas, these X-type visions, these ideas, these things that we want to accomplish that we know literally scares the bejesus out of us. They're not one step up, something that we know that we can easily accomplish. They're 3, 4 rungs up on the ladder. These are big visions, big visions. So these are these X-type visions. And for many people, they are unable to move to the next step because of the mental exercises that they go through in their minds that prevent them and hold them back into stages of complacency, stages of mediocrity, stages of either going backwards or sideways, but you're definitely not moving forward. Now, you can call that state whatever you want to call it, but for our purposes and in this diagram, we're going to call that state bondage. Bondage. And then as we move through the process of having this vision, of having this thought, we get through to reason. And then we have these Y-type ideas that sit in our subconscious. So we have these Y-type ideas of reason. And we start to contemplate all of the things that could potentially go wrong as we start out on this big vision and this grand journey. And all of those negative thoughts and all those fears in our subconscious, it begins to get us to the point where we begin to internalize it. And as we start to internalize these Y-type ideas, they start to affect us physically. You will hear of famous artists who had to overcome stage fright. They get into these mindsets of all of the what ifs. What if I can't perform? What if my voice cracks? What if the band doesn't play? What if no one comes? Right? And they tell that many of these artists would speak of having a physical reaction all the way to the point of some even having nausea or passing out. Right? They literally stop breathing and they pass out on the stage. But you have this physical reaction. And you get to this terror barrier and your body just, it freezes, and you are unable to move forward. And it creates all of these situations for you not to be able to move forward. Your ego kicks in and it tells you that all of these things in your mind of if you do this and you fail and people are gonna call you foolish or call you names, or they didn't really support you, didn't really think you could do it to begin with. You get all of these things into your head and you start to have a physical reaction. But understanding how to break through that, and any goal that is a worthy goal will take you through this process, but you have to be able to have the mindset to break through that, to break through that terror barrier, to get to the other side. And that other side is called freedom. It is called freedom. And once you get to the other side of freedom, guess what? It starts again when you start to have the next big vision or the next big idea. It doesn't go away, but it gets easier. It gets easier with each accomplishment. You start to build that confidence that, oh, I got this. I know how this works. I understand what this feeling is. And I've mastered it before and I can master it again. Anytime that you are setting a goal that results in you skipping a couple of rungs on the ladder of success, you will run up against this terror barrier. Whenever you go to make a serious change in lifestyle, moving out of your comfort zone, you will run up against this terror barrier. With any change that would come under the category of a major change in your behavior, the terror barrier would instantly and automatically be standing between you and the good that you desire. How badly do you want it? How in love are you truly with that idea of starting that business or growing that business or acquiring that business or purchasing a home that is actually by the lake or on the ocean or on the cliff or in that neighborhood that you never thought that you would be able to buy in? With any change that would come under the category of a major change in your behavior, the terror barrier will instantly automatically be standing between you and the good that you desire. Remember the quote earlier, Michael Bernard Beckwith? I am available for more good than I have ever imagined before in my life. When this happens, you have a choice. We have a choice. We always have a choice. You can step back into safety and continue to experience the same results year after year in bondage, in mediocrity, in complacency. Or you can be courageous and experience the growth that you have been seeking. And let's not play mental games. You have been seeking the growth. That's why you're here. It is real. The growth that you have been seeking is a real desire. It's not some plaything. It is real. Worksheet introduction for lesson 7, the terror barrier. I want to make sure that you are completing your lessons and that if you have any questions or if there's anything that is potentially causing you any challenges in completing this lesson, review the goals that you have established in lesson 1. Yes, we're going to always go back to lesson 1. Ask, is this what I really want, or am I settling? Am I settling? And I'm often, asked, well, how do I know that, I'm just not settling? How easy is it for you to absorb that thought of the accomplishment? Is it what you really want, or have you talked yourself down? And when I say down, let me give you an example. You really want that Corvette. You want a beautiful red Corvette, black interior, chrome wheels. You want a Z06, top of the line, whatever it may be. But yet you compromise and you tell yourself, well, you know what? That's only for those individuals who are really successful or really fly. I think I'll just go and get a Camaro. Now, there's nothing against a Camaro, but I've owned a Corvette and I've driven a Camaro, and I can tell you that there's no comparison. There's really no comparison. What do you really want? And it is just as easy to acquire that Corvette and to have that Corvette manifest in your life than it is than the Camaro. There really is no difference in the effort other than your beliefs that it is possible. We're always creating. We're always creating in our thoughts. We're always creating. If you're thinking, you're creating. Again, you are the director and the author and the writer of your movie. Write in the Corvette and do not compromise. If you knew you had all the talent, ability, and resources that you require to accomplish something beyond that which you are working on, what would that goal be? If you had everything, and for many, many years, I was in banking and I worked with clients. I had a very unique career where I was able to work with clients who were small business all the way up to multi-billion dollar corporations, all the way to publicly traded companies. And I would speak to many of the small business owners. I would always ask them, because of course, business owners, they think that the one thing they always need is money. I need money. I need a loan. I need money. And I would always ask them in an interview when, they would come into my office, if I gave you approved a $5 million loan for you right now today, what would you do with the money? And 5 sentences or less, could you explain to me what you would spend the money on? And believe it or not, the majority of them, if not 99.9% of them, had no clue. They were not prepared to answer that question. They were just stuck on I need. But they hadn't even gone through the exercise of the why. Why are you hiring? Are you buying new equipment? Right? If you had all the talent, ability, and resources that you require to accomplish something beyond that which you are working on, what would that goal be? List as many what ifs as you can as to what your life would be like if you accomplish this goal. This is a fun exercise where what ifs is actually positive in this instance. What if? What are all the what ifs? Now become emotionally involved and let it be part of your imagined reality. And if you recall before, when we were speaking in terms of our consciousness, it does not know if the thoughts you are having are imagined or not, if they're the present, if they're the past, if they're the future. List your fears, doubts, and worries. Look at your fears and write down what you are going to do about them. Look at your fears and write down what you are going to do about them. I would just say point blank, just forget about them. They're not real. They're not real. Your fears are not real. Fear is just false examples appearing real. False examples appearing real. False thoughts appearing real. So lesson 7 worksheet, make sure that you all get that completed for lesson 7. And we're going to end today's lessons by a quote from Abraham Maslow. You either step forward into growth or back into safety. You either step forward into growth or back into safety. And that ends today's lessons.